No, I mean, it does look like there's an awful lot of water here, doesn't it? I mean, this is quite a large reservoir. If you live in East Anglia, then this is where your water is likely to come from. But this reservoir, like lots of others across England, are experiencing very low levels of water because of the prolonged dry spell and the lack of rain that we've had recently. If you come with me this way, I can show you exactly how low the levels of water are here. You can see that the water line is just up against those green rocks. But if you look right to the top there, you can see some dark green rocks, and somewhere in the middle, so between the dark green and the grey, that is where the water level should be at this time of year. So clearly it's a lot lower than expected. Now, I've been told today that that's not causing too many problems here at the moment, but if we continue to see this prolonged dry spell, then it will cause problems into the future. Well, earlier I took a walk around the reservoir with Regan Harris from Anglian Water, and she explained to me what the current situation is here.
So what we've seen at Anglian Water in our region is a very, very dry 8 months. It's been the driest since 1976, and actually we're only seeing about 4% of the rainfall we would normally expect in July. But as you can see, Rutland Water Primary is about 80% full, so we're not unduly worried at this point.
We're hearing, though, that we might not have any rainfall over the next month, or very little rainfall, so does that worry you at all?
Well, what we're really worried about is actually having a wet winter next year. We need a wet winter to top up those supplies, because if we have another dry winter, that could impact us then for next spring and summer. But as things stand, we're not worried, we're not planning any restrictions or hosepipe bans at the moment, but we really do need the rain into the autumn and winter to fill things up for next year.
So what advice would you give to people at home then?
We would always advise people to use water wisely and be mindful of what they're using. So it really is the little things that people can do. You know, if they're getting the paddling pool out again, if the weather gets hot, reuse that water on the garden, use it to wash the car, take a shorter shower. It really is all those really small things that can make a huge difference for the longer term.
So some good tips there really on how to save water. The water levels here aren't too much of a problem at the moment, but parts of England today have been given this prolonged dry weather status, which essentially means that we all need to start thinking carefully about how we use water. Using water wisely are the words we've been hearing today, because if we don't, then water restrictions could come into force. So that's things like hosepipe bans. Now, if that does happen, then of course that affects all of us, but particularly businesses that rely on using water. 5 miles up the road from here, there's a garden centre. We spent the afternoon there to see what impact water restrictions would have on the business.
Honestly, it doesn't really bear thinking about. Everything we stock requires water to live. It's a situation we haven't really thought through to the entity, but if the plants don't survive because we can't water them, then we don't have a business that will function, essentially. So it's a big worry. We really don't know what the future holds. We're trying to put in as many short-term immediate measures as we can to contain all the water we've got and use as little as possible, and obviously looking at the future.
So lots to think about really. I think the big message from the Environment Agency today is use water wisely, as this prolonged dry spell appears to be continuing.
Indeed. Catherine, thank you very much for that.